Welcome to the Far Out. In this segment, we're going to cover the exploits of the Indian football team between the period of 1947 and 1954, including the time India qualified for the FIFA World Cup. You heard that right. After gaining independence in August 1947, the Indian national team played its first match as an independent nation approximately 1 year later in 1948. It was in the first round of the 1948 Summer Olympics in London against France. During the game, which was essentially a knockout, a pre-quarterfinals or round of 16, whatever you want to call it, the French scored the opening goal in the 30th minute. The game stood on a knife's edge until the 70th minute when S. Raman scored India's first ever international goal to equalize. However, India's celebration couldn't last long as the French scored the winner right before full time. India were defeated 2-1. It has to be mentioned that most of the Indian players were playing barefoot in this game. Up until this Olympics, barefoot football was permitted, but FIFA imposed a ban right after the games ended. We will soon have a look how all this played a part in the World Cup 2 years later in Brazil in 1950, a tournament that India did manage to qualify for. It's funny that on the show where we discuss about India's qualification in the future and the biggest tournaments of them all, India did somehow manage to book a ticket for themselves for the first World Cup itself after its independence. India did that under the following circumstances. In the only qualifying round in Asia, India was slated to play 3 other countries, 4 teams playing for 1 spot in Brazil. However, Burma, Indonesia and the Philippines all withdrew before the draw, so India qualified automatically. So India secured a ticket to the World Cup in Brazil, but they never got on the plane. Bit anticlimactic. In the days that followed their qualification, India as well withdrew from the tournament. There are 2 different versions of why they withdrew. The first version is that of FIFA and that of many historians. India withdrew from the World Cup due to FIFA imposing a rule banning players from playing barefoot. FIFA along with the tournament administrators in Brazil even offered to pay the travel expenses of the Indian team, given that the Indian team's participation could potentially open doors for the tournament to other regions of the world, which was till then mostly a European and Latin American affair. The second version is that of AIFF. Those are not the letters of FIFA rearranged. That's the All India Football Federation, the governing body of football in India. We're going to pretend that you knew that already, as did I before making this video. The AIFF's version for the Indian team's withdrawal were the high travel costs to Brazil from India. India would have travelled the furthest among all the qualifiers in Brazil that year. They also lacked practice time before this tournament, and the fact that the Indian team values Olympics more than the World Cup. The Olympics was indeed a big deal as it is today, and the FIFA World Cup in 1950 was only in its 4th edition, and not this huge colossus of a global tournament that we know now. We are not taking sides here about who was in the right, who was in the wrong, but India withdrew from a FIFA World Cup, which they had qualified for. India would have been the first independent nation from Asia to play in the World Cup. Indonesia played in the World Cup in 1938, the first team from Asia to do so, but back then they were a Dutch colony, the Dutch East Indies. 72 years on, we do regret of letting go of this golden opportunity of playing in the World Cup. There were, however, few short-term consequences for the Indian team, which we'll talk about soon. The 1950s is considered to be the golden era of Indian football. Coached by Hyderabad City Police head coach Saeed Abdul Rahim, who is now regarded as the architect of modern Indian football, India became one of the best teams in Asia. During the 1951 Asian Games, Rahim led India to their first ever triumph. The games, which were hosted in India, the Indian team defeated Iran 1-0 in the gold medal match to win that first trophy. After withdrawing from the 1950 World Cup, prioritizing the Olympics, India were defeated in the first round itself of the 1952 Olympics in Helsinki. They were defeated 10-1 against Yugoslavia, which is their second largest defeat till date. In 1954, India returned to the Asian Games as defending champions in Manila. Despite their achievement 3 years prior, this time India was unable to go past the group stage. Moreover, there was one more unpleasant surprise India had to endure in 1954. After giving FIFA the snub in the previous edition of the World Cup, for the 1954 World Cup in Switzerland, India had its entry rejected for the qualification round in Asia. The reason, they applied after the official deadline. Of course, we can speculate this was FIFA's payback for India's withdrawal in the previous edition, but that's all there is to it. In the end, for the qualification round from Asia, there were only 3 teams, South Korea, Japan and Taiwan in the group. Eventually, Taiwan withdrew, which meant South Korea and Japan played a 2-leg tie. Both of the games were played in Tokyo as the Korean War had ended not long ago. South Korea won the tie and qualified for the World Cup, thus becoming the first independent Asian country to play in the FIFA World Cup. Despite their performance in the Asian Games, during this decade, the Indian team was still a formidable force in the region. If India had been drawn in the same group as South Korea and Japan, with only one among them going through, India would have been the favourites. Again, this was in 1954. South Korea and Japan were not the footballing giants from Asia that they are today. India would have at least fancied their chances. So between the period of 1947 and 1954 alone, India missed out upon not one but potentially two opportunities of playing in the FIFA World Cup. And just like the question that you are asking yourself, that we are going to address with the what if. Great series, Infinity Ultron, T'Challa Star-Lord, Zombie Scarlet Witch, loved it. Of course, we are not going to talk about the Marvel series. We are going to ask the question, what if India had played in one or both of these two football World Cups? What would have happened? Would we have been obsessed with football as we are with cricket? Eat, sleep, drink, football all across, billboards, radio, television, internet? The answer is probably no. We need to understand that in 1950 and 1954, India as an independent country was still in its infancy. We were still finding our stride in this world, where we finally were the masters of our own destiny. And in a way, it was all a bit overwhelming. So a World Cup qualification or two wouldn't have exactly changed that. It wouldn't have set our world on fire, so as to speak. Having said that, we could have got rid of this monkey off our back of not having played in the Football World Cup, which we hope we do soon. So that wraps up this segment. Hope you liked it. Let us know in the comments below if we missed out on something specific to this period. We are going to talk about our football history and that of others, do some introspection along the way as a footballing nation, and most importantly, what India can do to get our time in the sun at the biggest sporting event of them all.